Well, Dave, it's been a long time since we've had to reflect on a loss. Has there been any alteration in the mood around the place this week, or given the opponent, has it added to the desire to see out the main objectives of this campaign?
No, listen, I think in football you always want to win. So the next game for us can't come quick enough. We had to wait a little bit of time, but everyone's raring to go. We're still in a good place, and regardless of what happened last weekend, it's not changed where we are. We're in a good place, sat in a position where everyone else wants to be, and the start or the end of one run has to become the start of another run. So we've 9 games to go. We'll try and win all of those 9. And has to start this weekend.
One player who's received plenty of plaudits since he arrived is Andy Cannon. Obviously, before his arrival, he mentioned his lack of game time. How much of a challenge is it to have to manage match fitness when you know a player can be so impactful at any given moment?
It is, and Saturday's the prime example of that. As much as we want to win every game, it's not at the consequence of putting players at risk. It's pointless Andy coming in with us and us having him available for 45 minutes and 60 minutes while he's not fully fit, pushing it to 75, him getting injured and then him not being with us for the rest of the season. So he was the prime one because his performance on Saturday showed that he's way above the level. Even somebody who's not, like I say, nowhere near match fit. 60 minutes was more than what we anticipated we'd get out of him, and it wasn't really a difficult decision taking him off. As much as he was in control and controlling the game for us at that point, the consequence of potentially leaving him on was not worth the risk. And if that meant that it lessened our opportunities or lessened our chances of winning that game, then that was something I was really comfortable with. And we'll continue to, like I say, to work with him. That what we've got to do is get him to a level where he can complete 90 minutes or as close to 90 minutes for us. Now, that's not going to be this weekend. We hope that it'll be potentially next weekend when we're Friday, Monday, and if not, it'll certainly be within the next week or 10 days, we hope. So we'll continue to work at that. There's obviously a temptation to push things, but he's been brought in with a purpose, knowing where we're at, knowing what we've got midfield wise, knowing that we can rotate things if and when we need to. But it's great that the impact he's had in the short space of time he's been in has meant that we hope he can have a big impact between now and the end of the season when he's needed.
Well, another player in the county ranks to receive some recognition this week was Paddy Madden. He picked up the Player of the Month award for March. His recent form's been there for all to see, but what's it like to have a player like that around the place?
It's good to have good players, first and foremost. Paddy, I suppose, leads by example more than anything else. He's won the armband at times this season when he's needed to. He's one of the experienced ones within the group. He was brought in to the club before I came here, obviously as a marquee signing. And what it helps from a management and coaching perspective is when one of your marquee signings is the driver of standards in training sessions, is the hardest worker, is the one who above all shows their desire and will to want to win all the time, regardless of what he's doing, whether he's playing darts out there, whether he's on the pitch in five-a-sides, whether that's, like I say, in games for us. It makes the job of the coaching staff an awful lot easier. He's the one that sets the standard, and when that's one of your big players, especially younger players that are maybe a little bit below that level, only have the choice to be dragged along with it, if you like, and if they don't, then they'll be sort of left behind and found wanting. So he's been great. He's now got the goal return that his performances have deserved. We've got him in better areas. He's his own worst enemy at times in the fact that he does a lot of his work off the ball, a lot of his work in areas where, realistically, as much as we benefit from it and we pat him on the back for doing it, we want him doing his work in front of goal because he can finish, he can score goals, and he's massively effective in the penalty area for us.
Just looking ahead to Saturday, we remain unbeaten at Edgeley Park since your arrival, and you've credited the fans in the past for their contribution to that home form. How important now is the role of the fans as we enter the home straight in terms of the league campaign?
It's always important. It doesn't change. This is the best part of the season. Like I say, before I was here at the start of the season, if people were offered that we would be sat where we are, top of the table, 8 points clear with 9 games to play, everyone would have took it. So alongside that becomes anxiety and becomes excitement and becomes jeopardy. That's where we want to be. So you have to embrace that, and you have to accept that football's a game full of variables. Sometimes it doesn't go in your favour, but stick with it. Stick with it. This group has shown that they're massively motivated to get to the position that we're in now, and that will continue to be the case. And from a supporter's perspective, they're sat in a very similar boat that I am, in the fact that you have to watch. Sometimes it's a bit edgy. You have to trust what's out there on the pitch. And from our perspective at the side, we've got to, I suppose, be in the game and potentially make changes if we need to. We've been fortunate in the fact that on pretty much every occasion this season, or since we've been in, we've not had to make huge changes. There've been changes that we've, I suppose, thought would be beneficial to us, and at times have worked. But the players have been brilliant. They've put us in a position where everyone wants to be. Everyone, as I say, has got to enjoy that, as difficult as it might be, and really get behind the players. And I know they will. They've been brilliant. And us being away from Edgeley Park for what seems like a long time, even though it's only been sort of, I suppose, three away games. It'll be great to be back there. Great opportunity for us. Great to have the TV cameras there, and another opportunity for our supporters to show how good they are.
You mentioned other options in the team there. Can you give us any update on the recovery of Ryan Riddell and Ben Whitfield?
Yeah, both back on the grass, which is really pleasing. Ryan probably a little bit ahead of Whit. Ryan's done 3 or 4 days with us. Whit's first day back today. We'll both play in a behind closed doors game on Monday, and we'll see what we get out of them. But it'll certainly take them closer to a first team return. Apart from Macca, then everyone is back out with us, and numbers wise, we are carrying a big group that has strength, and I hope they're not needed, but if and when they are, regardless of who it is, I know they'll do a good job for us.
Southend now are a very different side to the one that County faced earlier on in the season. What do you make of the work that's gone on there, and what do you expect from Saturday? We
expect the best version of them, and you might look back probably 3 or 4 weeks and say they were on an unbelievable run. I think went unbeaten through February or March, and I think they've lost 4 of the last 5, which shows what this league is. That if you're just a fraction off, then results can go against you. But they've shown in the previous run that they can compete with teams and they can win games of football. So we know it's going to be tough. We've got to focus on us and produce the best version of us. If we produce the best version of us, as I've said previously, we're a match for anybody in the league, and we'll be looking, as I say, to start another run for us, a run that hopefully will see us top of the table come the middle of May.
And just finally, what's it like for you to again find yourself in a race for promotion? Is this the sort of challenge which drew you to the club in the first instance?
Yeah, it's the people will say talk about pressure. It's the best part. It's the pressure that you want. We've got everything to play for. They're, like I say, big games with big jeopardy. They're the emotional, I suppose, drivings of what football at the top end brings. So we have to, from ourselves, our own perspective, we have to embrace it. We have to enjoy it, enjoy the stresses, enjoy the worries. But what we've tried to do is remain consistent in our emotions, our actions, our selections, how we train and go about it. And that'll continue to be the case. And hopefully we can have another really good end to a season, which would be like I say, a phenomenal achievement if we can get there.
Dave, thank you for your time.
Cheers, thank you.